I'm so happy to be here with Johnny Harris from Still Standing. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Nice to see you off the road.
Yes, it's nice to be off the road. I mean, I love on the road, but it's nice to have a little break right now.
Where has this show taken you?
It's taken me all across this great land of ours. I feel like I can say that now. I feel like this is sort of a nice time where we can wear our hearts on our sleeves a little bit, and the risk of sounding a bit self-congratulatory, which Canadians never want to do. But I feel like it's a particular time of pride. And yeah, we've been from coast to coast to coast, 120-something episodes of Still Standing now. So we've been from Fogo Island, which you've probably been to, Bell Island, Haida Gwaii, Skidegate on Haida Gwaii, or what was once known as the Queen Charlotte Islands, up north, Rankin Inlet, Churchill, Manitoba.
This is Inuvik, Northwest Territories. This is Fraser Lake, British Columbia.
This is Lac La Biche, Alberta.
This is Gravelbourg, Saskatchewan.
This is Grand Manan, New Brunswick.
And these are remote places of Canada that most people don't get to see, right?
Gander also featured last year.
You got to fly to one Still Standing place to get to another Still Standing place.
I tell you, yeah, it's starting to be like that. Like every place that we go to now, there's usually a place that we've done another episode in within like an hour drive. It's kind of interesting. Gander actually fascinating history. It's weird. You grow up a couple hours away from the place.
Yeah.
Botwood of all places.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Once you dig into these places, there's incredible history, and it's like maybe it's a place that's been right next door your whole life, and you dig a little under the surface, it's wild.
One thing I've learned about the show over the years, and I've appreciated, is in addition to all the different places you go to a lot of Indigenous communities in the country.
Yeah, I think we've done 14 Indigenous communities now. It's interesting, like the first one we shot for this newest season in Osuyas, British Columbia.
Quickly, just to clarify for people watching at home, because this confused me a little bit, Osuyas Indian Band, that can refer to the people, but also to the place, the land. Also, I should say the word Indian. I'm told that that's what people here prefer, so that's what I'm going with.
They've got this like amazing character, Jane Stelkaya.
You guys already know her, Jane Stelkaya.
She's like the matriarch of the community. She's 90-something and still gives these like historical guided horseback tours in Osuyas. She's wild. And she said to me, she's like, it's not First Nation.
These are Indians. That's who we are.
So Osuyas Indian Band. So that's what I said in the set. And I said, for anybody out there who might take exception that I'm more afraid of Jane than I am afraid of you. So it's going to be Osuyas Indian Band for this episode anyway.
What do you look for in a Still Standing story?
We're looking for a survival story. We're looking for a town that, as it says in the credits, is against the ropes but hanging in there. We're looking for towns that have seen some real diversity. That could be a loss of industry. Maybe the mine closed, the plant closed, as it did in St. Thomas, the big Ford plant there.
I heard that was a big show for you guys.
Here we are in St. Thomas, Ontario.
That was our biggest live audience to date. I think it was 1,400 people we had in the arena there, in the Joe Thornton Arena, and it was incredible. It was a great live show. It was a bigger town to begin with than we usually do, and had a bit of an urban. I'm sure you've interviewed him. Chuck Lair lives there.
Oh, no way.
Chuck Lair and his buddy Malachi Malay, they run a barber shop there. And of course, St. Thomas is also where Jumbo the elephant was killed. You'll see these beautiful statues of Jumbo in St. Thomas. He's on all these murals, beautifully done murals around town. And Malachi and Chuck Lair run this business. It's like a barbershop / podcast studio / clothing store. Very cool spot. So I went before the show. I went by his shop and he cut my hair and he put shaved Jumbo in the back of my head. I start talking about this and I start alluding to the fact that maybe I have Jumbo shaved into the back of my head, even though they've been watching me for the last half hour. And then I turn around and you can see Jumbo shaved in there.
Love you, St. Thomas. Thanks so much. We'll see you again.
What was it like to go to Fort McMurray after the fires?
Yeah, that was wild. There's one highway in and out of that town. If there'd been an accident, you don't even want to think about what could have happened. But it was a largely successful evacuation, except the following day there was a highway accident and a young guy and young woman were killed. And I interviewed the young woman's sister.
Emily lived a life of abundance. She had lots of friends. She had lots of art and drawing and creativity. I mean, if I could say anything about Emily, like, we gave her a good 15 years. Yeah, she got a good 15.
And I remember it's like heavy stuff to get into for a half-hour comedy show.
Yeah.
And I was kind of worried about how it would turn out. And I remember like talking about, I sort of come out of it by talking about how they're going to build a park and whatnot. That's going to be a memorial for these two kids who lost their lives. And as I come out of that bit, she, like, there was a round of applause, and I always remember she sort of clapped, and then she clapped. She was sitting in the front. We have all the people we interview sit in the front, and she sort of lifted her hands, and I realized everybody in the audience is looking at her to see if it's okay to give this round of applause.
Right.
And the fact
She's
that she
doing that
lifted her
to
hand
tell everybody.
so people could, yeah, I thought that was really, that sort of stuck with me.
You can give him a round of applause. You can...
You've really you talked to all different walks of life on this show.
Yeah.
What kind of people have you talked to? Who sticks out to you?
Like fish plant workers, miners, mayors, people who give polar bear tours, puppeteers, downhill skateboard racers, every kind of walk of life. Sometimes it's an individual, and sometimes it's a group of people. I remember the Prince family. They were in Buxton, Ontario. And it was our first show that sort of took a close look at slavery. It's largely a black population there. But it's one of the, a terminus of the Underground Railroad, they call it. This population of people who their ancestors, you think about, like, they actually did that. They risked everything. They risked their lives. They risked unspeakable repercussions to give their kids and their kids' kids a better life. And it worked. Like, I happened to be there for their, like, summer Buxton Day or whatever it was, but they had this, like, parade.
Like a festival kind of
thing.
thing.
And you see these, you see the kids with their cotton candy, and just people risked incredible stakes to try to give this kind of life to their grandkids, and it worked.
So if you ran from your master in Alabama and arrived here in Buxton and became a freed slave, a farmer, this is the kind of place that you would be living in?
Yes.
Do you want to stick your head inside?
Yeah.
I'm sort of overwhelmed by an emotion that I had trouble defining to myself, and then I realized it's pure envy. 4 bedrooms! I live downtown Toronto. 2-story, 4-bedroom.
It's wonderful.
This was in Toronto, this would cost you over $1 million.
Isn't there something called the still standing effect?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people, it's interesting now, particularly, like, since COVID, a lot of people are traveling within the country. A lot of people are overlanding, doing road trips. And because we've done so many towns now, a lot of people will string together road trips, and they'll try to hit 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 towns that have been featured on the show.
I mean, that must be rewarding to you.
Yeah, that's very cool. It also sort of works as an archive. It's sort of a time capsule of this community during this time and how it's doing.
Right, because there have been communities on Still Standing that are no longer there, right? There are communities that are no longer there, and all we still have of them, part of what we still have of them, is their Still Standing episode.
Yeah, like Lytton, British Columbia is a good example, which was in a wildfire. It was razed, it was burned to the ground, and like just not enough left to even attempt a rebuild. So which is devastating. But the fact that the episode exists and will lend somewhat to the legacy or legend of the town is nice. Lytton found gold.
A huge nugget was discovered, and the word spread, and that's what triggered the great gold rush of 1858.
That was Lytton.
That was Lytton. In fact, there was a petition here in 1867. Lytton should be the capital of British Columbia.
It was
right
almost here.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it became an important service town, a hub for 2 railways.
The 2 national railways right here go right through town. A lot of unit trains, running coal and sulfur and wheat. This is the economic lifeblood of the country.
When I do my research, I'm always digging up old CBC News archives and footage, and that helps tell the story a great deal. And the thought that this show might play a small role in that in the future is nice.
And I wonder if getting to travel into these small towns and into these pockets of Canada have made you think differently about Canada, or have given you a different perspective on Canada.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is something that the CBC has always been responsible for, has always done.
Yeah, at its
Sort of-
best, Yeah.
Yeah, but like before it was elbows up and before it was cool, it does try to lend some sort of solidarity to all Canadians and to educate people across what is a geographically vast land, and try to sort of provide some kind of union, some sort of solidarity and
like
the country's character.
Yeah, and by doing that, through doing that, you get to see these places. Maybe you get to see what people have in common. You get to see the sort of different varieties of people. You get to see a lot of parts of Canada that most people don't get to see.
Yeah, but when you go and you sort of, that's your mission, is to research what's cool and interesting and positive and commendable about a community. You can't help but fall a bit in love with the place. So that happens in every town I've gone to. And I think we do a lot right, and it's not cool to say that, we're not real flag wavers, but I think it's cool that this show sort of takes half an hour a week and it's like, let's just celebrate this Canadian town.
Are you ever going to run out of towns?
No. You sort of learn that that's what the world is. It's a few big cities, and then it's all small towns in between. Like for every town that we featured, there's 5 within a stone's throw that, if you dug in a little bit, you'd find a super interesting story.
It's a beautiful show, man, and I think it does a great job of doing the thing that I think the CBC is best at.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming in.